In 1685, a plague swept through Rome. Bodies piled in the streets. Citizens panicked. The empire was collapsing, and Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, did something that shocked everyone. He stopped talking, not because he had nothing to say. He ruled the greatest empire on earth. Every word he spoke became law. But he realized something that would change human philosophy forever. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. While everyone else screamed about the plague, blamed the gods, and spread panic through the streets, Marcus went silent. He stopped attending public forums, stopped making grand speeches, stopped explaining his every decision. Instead, he did something radical. He picked up a pen and wrote to himself. Those private writings became Meditations, the most influential philosophy book in human history. Here's what nobody tells you about 2026. The people winning aren't the ones posting everything. They're not the ones talking about their goals. They're not the ones broadcasting their every move. They're the ones who went silent and started building. In the next 13 minutes, I'm going to tell you stories that will make you completely rethink how you spend this year. These aren't motivational fairy tales. These are historical facts about people who changed the world by shutting their mouths and focusing inward. And by the end, you'll understand why silence is the most dangerous weapon you possess. Stay with me. This is going to challenge everything you believe about success. Story 1. The slave who outplayed Rome. Let me tell you about a man named Epictetus. Born a slave in 50 AD, owned like property, his master broke his leg just to prove he could. Most slaves in that position would have spent every moment complaining, plotting escape, cursing their fate. Epictetus did the opposite. He went completely silent. For years, he didn't argue with his master, didn't complain about his chains, didn't tell other slaves about his plan. While other slaves whispered about rebellion, he studied philosophy in secret. While they gossiped about freedom, he trained his mind. While they announced their dreams, he worked in absolute silence. Here's the part that will shock you. After gaining his freedom, Epictetus became so influential that he taught Roman senators, military generals, and eventually, his philosophy reached emperors. The slave became more powerful than the men who once owned him. You know what he said about those years of silence? First, learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. He didn't waste energy complaining. He used silence as a laboratory to build himself. So let me ask you something uncomfortable. How much of your energy in 2025 went to talking about what you were going to do instead of actually doing it? How many times did you post about your goals instead of working on them? How many conversations did you have about your plans that went absolutely nowhere? Let them sit in that discomfort. Epictetus understood something that most people never learn. Every word you speak about your goal is energy not spent achieving it. The universe doesn't reward announcements. It rewards action done in silence. Dramatic, intense. 48 AD, Rome. A man named Seneca, the richest, most powerful advisor in the empire, gets betrayed. His enemies spread lies. The emperor exiles him to a deserted island. No wealth, no status, no contact with civilization. Most people would have spent years screaming about the injustice, posting letters about how they were wronged, trying to clear their name, begging for sympathy. Seneca went silent for 8 years. You know what he did on that island? He wrote. Not angry letters, not political manifestos, not complaints about his exile. He wrote philosophy, letters about time, wealth, anger, friendship, death, deep, timeless wisdom. In silence, away from the noise of Rome, he created work that's still read 2,000 years later. Meanwhile, his enemies, the ones who exiled him, nobody remembers their names. Here's the brutal truth Seneca discovered. Your haters want you to react. They want you to defend yourself. They want you talking about them. Because while you're talking, you're not building. While you're defending, you're not creating. While you're explaining yourself, they're moving ahead. Seneca wrote from exile, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay. Beg anger to grant you this at the first, not in order to pardon the offense, but simply in order to form a judgment about it." Translation? Shut up. Build in silence. Let your results speak. When Seneca finally returned to Rome, he was more powerful than ever. Not because he fought his enemies, because he outgrew them while they were busy celebrating his exile. In 2026, who are you letting distract you? Who are you giving free rent in your mind by constantly talking about them, thinking about them, reacting to them? What would happen if you just went silent and used that energy to build something they could never touch? Story 3. The General Who Said Nothing. 180 AD. Marcus Aurelius is leading Roman legions against Germanic tribes. His generals are panicking, soldiers are deserting, Rome is losing. The Senate demands updates, citizens want speeches. Everyone's asking, what's the plan? Marcus Aurelius stopped responding to them. He didn't issue grand proclamations, didn't give motivational speeches to the troops, didn't write public letters explaining his strategy. He did something that shocked Rome. He disappeared into his tent every night and wrote in his journal private thoughts. No audience, no performance, just brutal honesty with himself. His generals thought he'd lost his mind. The emperor is writing poetry while Rome burns. But here's what actually happened. While everyone else was talking about the war, Marcus was solving it. In that journal, he worked through strategy, philosophy, leadership, decision-making. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." And you know what happened? He won. Not through loud declarations, not through rallying speeches, through silent, focused execution. Modern application. This is what kills me about 2026. Everyone's live streaming their journey, posting daily updates, broadcasting every small win. Day 1 of my fitness journey. Just started my business, manifesting my dreams. And 6 months later, silence. Not the productive kind, the kind that comes from quitting. You know why? Because they spent more energy announcing the journey than walking it. Marcus Aurelius understood the person who talks least often thinks most. While others broadcast, he calculated. While they performed, he prepared. In 2026, try this experiment. Don't post about your goal for 90 days. Don't tell anyone what you're building. Don't seek validation for your progress. Just work. In the dark, in silence, with nobody watching. Then watch what happens. You'll either build something extraordinary, or you'll realize you only wanted the appearance of building, not the actual work. Most people can't do it. They need the likes, the comments, the external validation. But the ones who can do it, they become unstoppable. Here's something the Stoics didn't know, but modern neuroscience confirms. When you talk about your goals, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical it releases when you achieve them. Here's something the Stoics didn't know, but modern neuroscience confirms. When you talk about your goals, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical it releases when you achieve them. A 2009 study by Peter Gollwitzer at NYU proved this. People who announced their goals publicly were less likely to achieve them. Why? Because talking about it gave them a false sense of accomplishment. Their brain thought, I told people I'm going to do this. That feels like progress. But it wasn't progress. It was just noise. The Stoics knew this 2,000 years before neuroscience could prove it. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Seneca wrote, "If you wish to be a writer, write. Not talk about writing. Not post about writing. Not tell everyone you're a writer. Just write. Here's the most powerful part. When you work in silence, you remove external pressure. No one's watching. No one's judging. No one's waiting for you to fail. You're free to experiment, to fail, to learn, to iterate. But the moment you announce it, you've created an audience. Now you're performing. Now you're seeking validation. Now you're working for them, not for yourself. 2026 is your year to disappear. Not from life, from the noise, from the need to be seen, from the addiction to validation, from the performance of productivity. Go dark, build in silence, re-emerge transformed. The 2026 Silence Protocol. Here's how to actually do this. Rule 1. The 90-day blackout. Pick one major goal. Don't tell a single person about it for 90 days. Not your friends, not your family, not social media. Just work. Marcus Aurelius did this for years. His greatest philosophy was written for an audience of one, himself. Rule 2. Kill the updates. Stop posting progress photos. Stop sharing small wins. Stop seeking validation for showing up. Seneca wrote, "If you live for people's acceptance, you will die from their rejection." Your work doesn't need an audience to be valuable. Rule 3. The response fast. When people ask what you're working on, practice saying, "Just focusing on myself right now." That's it. No explanation, no details, no permission for them to judge your progress. Epictetus taught, first learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. Until your work speaks for itself, you have nothing to announce. Rule 4. The evening reflection. Every night, Marcus Aurelius wrote privately, not for publication, for clarity. Spend 10 minutes before bed reviewing, what did I build today? What did I learn? What will I do tomorrow? No audience, no performance, just honest self-assessment. Rule 5. Let results announce themselves. You don't need to tell people you're successful. When Seneca returned from exile, he didn't announce his comeback. His philosophy announced it for him. When your work is undeniable, silence becomes your loudest statement. Marcus Aurelius ruled the greatest empire in history, king. Seneca transformed exile into immortal wisdom. None of them did it by announcing their plans. They did it by shutting up and building. So here's your choice for 2026. Path 1. Keep posting. Keep announcing. Keep seeking validation. Keep talking about what you're going to do. Watch as another year passes with more noise than results. Path 2. Go silent. Disappear from the noise. Delete the need for external validation. Focus every ounce of energy on building something real. 90 days, that's all I'm asking. 3 months from now, you'll either have something undeniable, or you'll realize you never actually wanted to build. You just wanted to look like you were building. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The world is loud in 2026. Everyone's talking, nobody's listening. Everybody's performing, few are creating. Be different. Be the person who disappears and returns transformed. Be the person whose results speak louder than words ever could. I'll see you in 90 days. Or I won't. That's outside my control. But whether you choose noise or progress, that's entirely in yours. Call to action. Comment one word. What you're building in silence in 2026. No explanations, just the word. Let's see who's actually committed.